Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Voxcaster. I'm your host Dan, and joining me on today's adventures are Brian Robbie
Hey, thanks for having me.
Kier Edward,
Hey, how's it going?
and Justin Gray.
Slacking.
Somewhere's there. Oh, there we go. We heard the feedback. We thought you became one with the machine, but I think we're good. We're good. Today's episode, we are reviewing once again, and this is close to me. So 2 Chaos Codexes in a row. Like this edition can't get any better, guys. Or am I not supposed to say it that way? Or
Drakari next too. So,
But no, in all
half of all the Dark Angel purists. I'm not one, by the way, but boo.
But no, today we are diving right into Dark Angel's supplement. So pretty much we're going to try to jam everything into one episode because the supplements are usually a little bit shorter, but knowing how we ramble on, it might be potentially two, but we're going to try for one.
I think we'll be safe because no one here actually plays Dark Angels, unlike the Death Guard debacle.
So there's no...
We're like writing lists as we go. Anyway.
It's like, shit, man, just give me a sec there. I got my paper down, right down.
Oh, I can jot this down. What happens? Flash what? Anyway.
Alrighty, so pretty much we're going to jump right straight into it. We're going to start off with detachment abilities. And at the end of the episode, if there's something that we did not cover, or if there's something that you guys don't understand, by all means, like throw a comment in on the video. And like I said, we're more than welcome to like elaborate on it or just discuss a little bit more on it. But like I said, we're going to...
I'd like to throw it if we get something wrong. Feel free to call us out. We're not...
Exactly. None of us are actually Dark Angel players. So like I said, we're just going to read it as it is. Yeah, exactly.
Get the facts straight because we don't want rumors starting with us.
Oh, exactly. Alrighty, so we'll start off with detachment abilities, and yeah, we'll go from there. So starting off, a Dark Angel's detachment is one that only includes models with Dark Angel's keyword, excluding models with the Agents of the Imperium or unaligned keywords. Note that such a detachment is also Adeptus Astartes detachment, as described in the Codex Space Marines. And as such, all Adeptus Astartes detachment's ability also apply to that detachment. So, starting off, we have Ravenwing units in a Dark Angel's detachment that did not already have the Jink ability, gained a Jink ability. So actually here, I'm just going to skip over to the very end just in case anybody wants to know. So Jink, if this unit has the Grim Resolve chapter tactic or it has the Inheritance of the Primarch's Successor tactic and is using the chapter tactic of Dark Angels, then 2 points for this one. Models in this unit have a 5-up invulnerable save against range attacks. In your movement phase, if this unit remains stationary, it loses its invulnerable save until the start of your next movement phase. And point 2 is each time this unit advances until the start of your next turn, models in this unit have a 4-up invuln save against range attacks. And especially with like everything I've been seeing so far, it's bikes, and I'm like, if you're not moving for the most part, then you're gonna have a nice save on you.
Yeah, I mean the tricky part is it worth advancing? But I mean it's the same Jink that's been around for.
Yeah,
there's nothing different here. And if you're looking to see
nice
if it has
Ravenwing gets obsec on those Outriders and bikes now. So.
Yeah, so these keywords are in the Space Marine Codex. Like I think Outriders got it, and probably the Land Speeders and stuff. But yeah, I mean we'll get into that stuff in a little bit there.
Yeah.
All right, jumping the gun a little bit.
It's already getting excited, Jesus. Next one down, we have Deathwing and Inner Circle units in Dark Angel's detachments that do not already have the Inner Circle ability gain the Inner Circle ability. So just jump back over here.
That Caliban green away, Brian.
So Inner Circle ability. If the unit has the Grim Resolve chapter tactic and so on, just like what it was a while ago. So the points here you can get is each time a morale test is taken for the unit, it is automatically passed, which in this edition it's huge. It's nice to always have that auto pass for morale because I don't know if it's anything like me. I find morale kind of got worse just because I can't roll very well, so I'm just losing more guys than I was before. But that's just me.
Yeah, it's nice you don't have to decide rather than think you'll be fine, then roll it and think, ah, shit, I should have spent 2 CP to auto pass that. Now you don't have to worry about it. It's a nice thing to not have to worry about.
Exactly. Point 2, while this unit is within engagement range of enemy fallen units, unless this unit has the vehicle keyword, this unit cannot be selected to fall back. Point 3, each time you select a unit to fall back, unless it's the vehicle Raven Wing, or Chapter Master keywords, roll 2d6. If the result is less than or equal to the unit's leadership characteristic, it can fall back. Otherwise, it cannot fall back. It must remain stationary instead. And last point, each time an attack is made against this unit, if the unit has the infantry keyword, an unmodified wound roll of 1 to 3 always fails, irrespectively of any abilities that the weapon or models making that attack may have. So that is Inner Circle. So I'm just going to jump back here.
So they keep their transhuman, which was the big complaint.
Well, that's the big thing, right? But I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of crazy people losing their minds when initially it was talked about things like Blade Guard vets with Inner Circle, and I don't know. It kind of just fizzled away. Didn't really see much Dark Angels tearing up the tournament scene. That Australia is really the only one going. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, so next point down we have here is if every unit in your army except agents of Imperium or unaligned units has the Dark Angels keyword, then every unit in Dark Angels detachment that has the Combat Doctrine ability gains the Sons of the Lion ability. I'm going to start clicking here.
Sons of the Lion's on that same page.
All right, let me click backwards. Yeah, so Sons of Lion. Units with this ability have the following abilities, which are described below. Speed of the Raven, Fire Discipline, and Implacable. So Speed of the Raven, while the Devastator Doctrine is active for your army, you got 2 points. Add 3 inches to the move characteristic of Raven Wing models from your army. And point 2, Raven Wing units from your army are eligible to shoot with in a turn in which they advanced. Each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack in a turn in which it advanced, that attack suffers the penalty executed to the hit roll as if firing an assault weapon. Next one down we have is the Fire Discipline. While the Tactical Doctrine is active for your army, infantry models from your army, excluding Deathwing models, can make attacks. Can make attacks with rapid fire and assault weapons, excluding blast weapons, while within engagement range of enemy units, but must target an enemy unit that is within engagement range of its own unit when they do so. In such circumstances, the model can target an enemy unit even if other friendly units are within engagement range of the same enemy unit. And while it is making such an attack, it has a ballistic skill characteristic of 5+. Okay.
It sounds amazing, but when you actually think about what can make use of this, it's infantry units with rapid fire and assault weapons that can't blast. So it really, the first time I read it, my first thought wasn't scepters, but those are blast weapons, right? So I think it becomes interesting on maybe flame aggressors, eradicators, if you can get a litany to give them +1 hit. So because it's a ballistic skill of 5, meaning they can still be hit on 4s with a +1 to hit.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about not being able to get any buffs or anything. So
yeah, so a lot of the crazy units, I mean, eradicators are probably the hardest hitting thing, or maybe flame aggressors. But I remember first reading it being like, oh my god, this thing's insane. But when you actually think about the Codex and all the units in it, like, you'll probably end up, this kind of seems like something to maybe get your intercessors out of combat or something, have them make a charge into something else, right? They shoot their way out, then,
All right, and the last one here is Implacable. While the Assault Doctrine is active for your army, each time a Deathwing Infantry or Deathwing Dreadnought model from your army makes a melee attack against a character unit or a unit that contains any models with a wound characteristic of 8 or more, you can re-roll the wound roll.
Yeah, so I mean, it gives you a little more punch against tanky stuff.
And like the first thing I think of is like against the Death Guard, the Blight Haulers, you got a 3-man unit. They have a wound characteristic of 8 or more. So it's little things like that that's just like, okay. And you know what? Just rerolls are always going to be a huge thing no matter what you do. So even the wound rolls, like, hey, why not?
Yeah. Lightning Claws are still very popular for Assault Terminators. So,
big time.
There's nice things here for sure. I mean, Deathwing Knights, it just gives them that much more punch against, like, I don't know, Morty, for example.
Yeah. So going back to the other point, so the next one down was if units in your army except unaligned units has a Dark Angels keyword, then Dark Angels Vanguard detachments that only contain models with the Deathwing and or inner circle keyword gain the first company ability. And first company ability is 2 points here. So Deathwing Terminator Squad, Terminator Assault Squad, and Relic Terminator Squad units in this detachment gain objective secure ability. So that's huge right there alone.
Yeah, and nuts. Later on, we'll get into it, but they can actually get -1 damage and storm shields with their transhuman and obsec in a 10-man.
Oh man, that's just gross. You just park them on an objective, and they're there for the game.
Yeah, I don't even think you need 10, even just 5, and you put them on. You're like, this is probably mine now. So.
And for point 2 here is if your warlord is part of this detachment, the detachment command benefits are changed to +3 command points.
So, just skip the battalion or patrol. You can just do a single vanguard of Deathwing if you want. Right? You won't be your Terminators or your OBSEC.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So, I mean, the only thing that might want you to go further is characters, but we'll see. We'll see if it's worth it.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I'm sure, like, once we get into the actual stratagems and stuff, and you start seeing some combos, and it's just gonna be like, nah, it's just worth taking this straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to the other side, we have the other point is if every unit in your army, except on a line, has Dark Angel's keyword, then Dark Angel Outrider Detachment that only contains models with the Raven Wing keyword gain the second company ability. So second company ability is. So it's going to be kind of like first company, except this time around we're looking at bikes by the looks of it. So essentially 2 points again. First one is Bike Squad and Outrider Squad units in the detachment gain the objective secure ability as described in the book. And 2 is if your warlord is part of the detachment, the command benefits are changed to +3. So same thing is just like I said, one's more or less Terminators, the other ones are more bikes.
Yeah.
Just trying to.
But still, just like I said, second company and you're having friggin' objective secure bikes. Is ridiculous for the simple fact is bikes are you cover the table pretty much every turn. Especially like I said, I'm sure there's gonna be some stratagems that let them double move or this and that. And it's just like turn 1 is like, oh, I'm on every objective. It's like that's gonna be a huge one, I think, right there.
I'm expecting to see mixed lists, 2 detachments, 1 first company, 1 second company.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get speed and punch on the one side and resilience. And I don't know. I've been hearing some crazy things where like Dark Angels can score 30 victory points without even leaving their deployment zone.
Oh,
and
nasty.
we'll get into that later. But one of them's a Space Marine secondary.
Okay.
Yeah, it's No Mercy, No Respite.
Yeah, and Oath to Moment, I think was the other one. Paired together is like we just standing there and we're gonna take this. But they're gonna. I think you're gonna see both. I don't think you'll see a soul. I mean, unless that's what people prefer. But I can't see why you wouldn't do 2 detachments, one with Raven Wing, one with Deathwing, and you just do a patrol. You only spend the 2 CP, but then you're either tough as shit or you're fast as.
No, that's the thing.
Right? Like
you're holding and you got the board control. So what more do you need, honestly?
Yeah.
And then for the last point on the other side is your army can only include 1 Ravenwing captain and 1 Deathwing captain from the same chapter. I find you've been seeing a lot more of that where they've been kind of restricting with the amount of HQs you can actually have per thing. So I think this is just more or less a continuation of that.
Well, they kind of started that in 8th too with Tau.
Yeah, no, I remember where it was like the 1 per and.
Yeah, 1 command suit per detachment.
Yeah, someone on our Discord actually caught this, but a captain and a chapter master aren't the same thing too. So you can take like what they did was Azrael and Belial, but it's I don't know. It seems like an oversight, but I don't know. I don't really care to be like that. Like it's odd to me that a chapter master isn't a captain anymore, but I guess it makes sense. Anyway, it is what it is. But
yeah.
Azrael's a beast, so.
No, I've been reading up and I've been seeing some games that people have already been putting out with the new Codex stuff, and it's just like they're definitely going to be hitting hard. They're not going to be something just to laugh at whenever you see them on the table.
Yeah, I think they'll be strong.
Unless it's Jonah.
Good lord. He didn't ask for this.
All right, so moving on to the next page, we have Rites of Initiation. So if your army is Battleforged, when mustering your army, you can upgrade any of the following units, excluding named characters in Death Angels. Jeez, wrong one there. Dark Angels attachments.
Yeah.
The Death Angels from
The
below.
Dark Guard.
There, next chaos. There we go. So yeah, so in the Dark Angels attachment in your army to become members of the Deathwing. So you have Captain, Primaris Lieutenants equipped with Storm Shield, Dreadnought, Land Raider, Repulsor, Storm Raven gunship, and transport units that can transport Terminator models. So essentially, the way it works is each time you upgrade one of these units, it gains a Deathwing keyword, and its power rating is increased as shown on the table to the right. If you are playing a match play game or a game that otherwise uses point limits, then the point values are also okay. So essentially, yes, it just says in a Crusade Force unit can only be upgraded to become part of the Deathwing by using this ability when it is added to your order of battle. Okay. So yeah, so looking at the chart right here, so pretty much as far as power ratings go, they're all going to be +1, but not many people are honestly going to be using power rating again unless you're using Crusade. But so starting at the top, Captain, you're going to add 20 points. The Primaris Lieutenant equipped with the Storm Shield will be 15 points. Dreadnought for 15 points, Land Raider for 10, Repulsor for 10, the Storm Raven gunship for 10, and transports that can transport Terminators for 10. So that's what you're going to be adding onto each one to gain the Deathwing keyword, which is kind of cool. This is done a little differently. It's like normally the charts are you give them points to give like extra abilities and stuff like that, but this is different just to be able to give them that keyword, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm not. I haven't really, dove that far ahead about how this. I mean, obviously, getting the captain and the Primaris Lieutenant, getting them the Deathwing keyword it gives you Inner Circle. But if I'm not mistaken, the main benefit of Inner Circle is the Transhuman, which only affects infantry, I believe. So it makes you wonder.
But I'm sure there's going to be some stratagems that probably be like choose a Deathwing model or Deathwing this and that. That's going to really make it worth it wild. Or like when it comes to some of the rerolls and some of the buffs, it's probably going to be like choose a Deathwing.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I can see it being worthwhile to actually doing it for that. But
yeah, it's more like for me, it's tough competition, right? Because the named characters are so great across the book. I don't know if I really imagine seeing very many vanilla captains or lieutenants. And then the other units, like no one's really taking Land Raiders anymore.
Until now. No,
Until
probably
now,
not.
yeah.
Probably
Because we
not.
can give it the Deathwing keyword. And it can fall back if it doesn't fail a leadership test. Hooray. I'm not sure. This one, off the get-go, I just kind of like...
Yeah, but like I said, as we go on and we start looking into stratagem and some of the other stuff, like obviously it might start making more sense, but as of right now, but hey, again, comment in the section below, like what are we missing? Like what's the big hoo-ha about giving it a Deathwing keyword? Like what are going to be the benefits from it? So jumping over to stratagems, if you want to start this one off, Kier, we have the Wrath of the Lion.
Sure. So this is a 2CP. It's called Wrath of the Lion, as Danny said. Use the stratagem in your command phase if a combat doctrine is active for your army. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a Dark Angels model from your army makes an attack with a weapon specified by the active combat doctrine, an unmodified wound roll of 6 improves the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. This is cumulative with the bonuses from the active combat doctrine. You can only use this stratagem once. 2CP.
So I'm guessing it's once per game, but
yeah. Again, Flamer Aggressor's going up to -3, and flaming in combat is kind of spicy. I don't know if you're fishing for 6s.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like you have to spend it before actually doing it. So it's like you spend a 2 CP and you roll like 1/6 or something like that, and it's like, oh, there's 2 CP gone. But
yeah, I mean, if you chose to run aggressors with flamers and at the start of your command phase they were locked into combat, you could potentially flame their way out, and then they could potentially charge into another unit or something. I don't know. 2CP seems a little pricey for a single extra point of AP on 6s only to wound. The next the next stratagem is Intractable for 2CP. Use this stratagem in your movement phase when a Dark Angels unit from your army is selected to fall back. If that unit has the Inner Circle ability, you do not need to first roll 2d6 to see if it can fall back. It can automatically do so. and until the end of this turn, that unit is eligible to shoot. So
that's a big run right there, to be able to shoot after the falling back.
Well, I like the first part too. If you really need to get that, like, there's going to be instances, right, where you really need to get that unit out of combat, and just having this lingering failed dice roll where you might get stuck in. I mean, sometimes you just need to disengage. You might need to just that extra 4 inches to move on to an objective or something.
Especially now, I don't think morale is something you can actually command point reroll either. I don't think so.
Now, I wonder how that's going to apply with, like, the fiends last year that are staring at me in the face, those fiends. Like, they deny fallback. I think that's more just targeting the inner circle's fallback restrictions.
Yeah, like the unit's going to have the inner circle keyword to be able to do it. So
if they're inner circle, can't they not fall back?
They have to roll 2d6 lower than their leadership to fall back.
Yeah.
So
they're meant to stay in combat. So it's kind of like I need this unit out to get onto an objective kind of thing. So
exactly,
can't play around it much longer.
I mean, the fallback and shoot's great too. I mean, if you happen to get unlucky and you do get your Inceptors tagged or something, and that's not what you want.
Terminator unit.
I'm just saying that it's, to me, it's not just the fallback and shoot. I do see uses for the actual. I'm guaranteed to fall back here because.
Well, like you said, it's just if that objective is just like 4 inches this way.
Need it to happen,
exactly.
You don't want to roll a 2d6. Where 8 is the number. It's anyway. So Deathwing Assault 1 CP. Use the stratagem in your shooting phase when a Deathwing unit from your army is selected to shoot. Each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack, if it was set up on the battlefield this turn as a result of a teleport homer or teleport strike, add 1 to the attack's wound roll. So, I mean, that's just Deathwing Terminators.
No, definitely.
I think you can only take, per 5, you can only take 1 heavy flamer or autocannon. So, I mean, +1 to wound on 2 heavy flamers at best. At the +1 to wound on all your storm bolters. It's okay. I mean, it's only 1 CP, so
you take away and that's disgusting resilience.
Yeah,
it's fair.
No, but true enough, like I said, for 1 CP, that's a big thing. If it was 2 CP, you wouldn't see it a whole lot. But like you said, you drop in a 10-man unit, you pop the 1 CP, adding 1 to wound. Especially if it's a higher wound target, like say if it's like 5 to wound. Well, here you're on 4s now, and vice versa. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's +1 to wound for 1 CP on 40 storm bolter shots if you want.
Exactly.
So, and then you pair it with Tactical Doctrine where they go up to -1 and all of a sudden you're wounded. Yeah, Death Guard's a good example, right? Because they're T5. A lot of it's T5. Bolter's only strength 4, so
exactly.
It's got some use. The next stratagem is Full Throttle. Use the stratagem in your movement phase after a Raven Wing unit from your army advances. That unit immediately makes a normal move of up to 12 inches, but is not eligible to shoot with or declare a charge with this turn. Sorry, it's a little blurry, guys. I'll read that again. That unit immediately makes a normal move of up to 12 inches, but is not eligible to shoot with or declare a charge with this turn. If the unit contains 5 or fewer models, the stratagem costs 1 CP. Otherwise, it costs 2 CP. So it's, I need these bikes to go fast. And
it's real fast.
It's after the unit advances. So it sounds to me as if you can move, if it was a bike, for example, you could move 14 inches, advance 6, and then move it another 12.
And it's like what I was saying. Yeah, and it's like I was saying earlier, I knew there's going to be some stratagems to allow you to move like another time to, like, say, get across the board. And
yeah, and, I think they have I think it's a land speeder or a flyer, I can't remember, but it emits this -1 to hit aura. And now all of a sudden you can take that thing and literally go all the way across the board with it.
Yeah.
Like if something else is in dire need and you really need that unit to hang on or something. Yeah. I mean, who's not gonna 1 CP and you can move that thing an extra 12 inches, smaller boards.
Exactly. It'll get you, like I said, those back objectives.
Or even just turn 1. If you're playing something in the slower army like Death Guard and you just want those bikes to just go and clog the lane, they're going to die. But now all of a sudden an army that is slow to begin with, you're making them even slower just by body blocking them, right? Maybe you see lists build with just like cheap base biker units as like throwaway bodying units or something. Who knows? So on the second column, we have Line Unbreakable for 1 CP. Use the stratagem at the start of your fight phase, at the start of the fight phase. Select one Dark Angel's infantry unit from your army. Until the end of that phase, that unit can only be selected as a target for melee attacks if the attacking model is within engagement range of it. So this is the previewed one, and people have mixed feelings. So it's not, you can't swing if it's a half inch within a half inch. It literally has to be in engagement range. So there's two trains of thought I've heard. Say you're in a tight space and a squad of Death Dreads, they might only be able to get one base actually in engagement range. So now 3 models, only one's actually eligible to swing.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it is hordes. If you have a 30 base unit, you're really depending on that second rank to be a half inch within a half inch, right?
And that's huge, like especially whenever, like you said, you have like these larger units of like 10, 20 guys, and they relay on the whole entire. It's like, oh, well, I'm a half inch of this guy to get an extra 10 guys attacking, and then here's like, well, no, it's just who's ever actually touching now.
Yeah, see, I'm of the opposite thought. I think it's really interesting against like a 5-man squad of Blade Guard vets. They barely make the charge, and even with a 3-inch pylon, they're not getting all 5 in. You turn this on.
There's
now,
that too, yeah.
2 of your Blade Guard vets can't even swing. That's a huge, So, I mean, there's multiple applications. I think for me, the thing with the Horde argument is I don't know if, just looking at the Dark Angels rules, I don't really know if they're that scared of Horde. It seems like there's just an abundance of 2-up invols or 2-up Terminator armors, right? So it's like, do I care about spending a CP when you're probably not even going to kill a model? Like,
no, true enough.
You ever swung 30 boys? Well, first of all, you never actually get like 30 boys in, but you ever swung like, I don't know, like Noise Marines, for example, doing their 80 or 60 shots. Like, if it is a 2-up save, they're not doing much. So
no.
But yeah, it's definitely got its uses, right? I guess for me, I think like armies like Custodes, something with bigger bases, bigger chunkier models where you're having the units efficiency just with 1 CP.
Yeah.
The next stratagem will be high speed focus for 1 CP. Use this stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase when you allocate a ranged attack to a Raven Wing vehicle model from your army. Until the start of your next turn, that model has a 4-up invul against ranged attacks.
Again, for 1 CP, that's huge. Like I said, you have a vehicle sitting on an objective, or you have it like blocking stuff up, or you don't want it to blow up. Throw a 4-up invul against it, then I can see that one being used quite often for 1 CP.
But I think the Raven Wing ability we read already gave them a 4-up if they advanced, or a 5-up if they just normal moved. So
the thing about this is it's reactive, and you can use it turn 1.
Yeah.
Right? It's in your opponent's shooting phase when you...
So your opponent gets turn 1, yeah.
Yeah.
Or keep in mind, like, you only got those whenever you moved. Say if you have it and you're sitting there and you don't move, you don't get those involves.
Backfield objective.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is a way to kind of pick it up by still being a stationary, so...
Yeah. I mean, it's annoying, right? It's a reactive 1 CP. You sit there and you wait, and now all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm going to put my, let's say, Ravager, all 9 shots into this unit. Well, I'm going to pop the 4-up invul, and that's just annoying because you can't change your mind now. So it's done. You've told me I've popped a strat, and it's kind of like lightning fast reactions, right?
Exactly.
You pick the target back in last edition when it all stacked. You're like, okay, neg 2, I hit on 5s. I'm going to pop lightning fast, okay? Here we go,
Yeah.
So this kind of it's reactive, which is nice. It's not one of those like just hide in the command phase or whatever.
Exactly.
So the last 2 for this page: no foe too great to subdue for 2 CP. Use a stratagem in the fight phase when a Deathwing Knights unit from your army is chosen to fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in the Deathwing Knights unit makes an attack with a Mace of Absolution against an enemy vehicle or monster unit, add 1 to the attack's wound roll and improve the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1.
2 CP, and I can see it being like, say you throw them all into like Morty or Magnus, and you want to make sure they're dead. Just adding that 1 to the wound roll, because a lot of times too, bigger guys you're going to be wounding on 5s, even 6s, depending on how strong. But again, I don't know what the actual stat line of a Mace of Absolution actually is.
That would be strength 8, 2, 3 damage.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's high enough
as it is. Discord
so...
saying that it's pretty solid against Bane Blades and stuff, because you can just run the unit into them and kill it.
Well, and you could turn on Assault Doctrine to make them neg 3. I think the real thing here is the +1 to wound. I think the AP is enough where you're going to be forcing the invul. And if it doesn't, like obviously against Centurions, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Wound them on 2s and they don't even get a save. Or I think they save on a 6-up, excuse me. But
it's still
6-up
better than 5-up.
Forcing the invul is good, but the +1 to wound really
is the big one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like they're valuing that at 2 CP. We just saw it in the Death Guard Codex too. Except we don't get an extra neg AP, but we get +1 to wound against anything. These ones are limited to vehicle and monsters. So
Exactly. So that's
I'll
the
take
trade-off.
I'll take ours. Screw the AP. So the next one is marked for command for 1 CP. Use the strategy before the battle. Select one Dark Angel's Ravenwing Huntmaster or Knightmaster model on a Dark Angel's model from your army that has the word Sergeant in their profile. The model can have one of the following special issue war gears. Yeah, so this is the Dark Angels version of that.
Exactly.
The Space Marine Codex and the supplements and stuff. Pick a sergeant, give him a special issue war gear.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. You can use it twice per. You can only use the stratagem once. So one sergeant gets a relic. People who know this army better than myself could probably decide what the best special issue war gear is. I mean, you could give a sergeant, Deathwing Knight Sergeant, a 5-up invol, mastercrafted Mace of Absolution or Flail. There's some good stuff here.
No.
Probably worth it, honestly. If you're gonna run like 10,
exactly.
Yeah, if you're gonna run like 10 Deathwing Knights, why not?
Yeah. So Brian, if you want,
the weapon's probably the one. So
exactly. So no, if you want to take away on the next page, Brian.
Yep. The next stratagem's Paragon of the Chapter. Use the stratagem after nominating a Dark Angel's character model that is not a named character to be your warlord. Generate one additional warlord trait for them. This must be from the Dark Angel's warlord traits table. Each warlord trait in your army must be unique.
And again, we're seeing this in all
stratagem once.
Yeah, we're seeing this in all the codexes where you get the extra relics, you get the extra warlord traits. So it's nice to see that at least they're giving it to everybody. It's not going to be just like specific ones.
I think that's like a 4th warlord trait for a Space Marine army, right? They get 3 from the base codex. It's almost Morty worthy.
Almost. Keyword. Almost, but not quite.
The next one on the list is Honored by the Rock. Use this stratagem after nominating a model drawn from the Dark Angel Successor chapter to be your warlord. You can give one relic of the rock to a character model from your army that is drawn from a Dark Angel Successor chapter instead of giving them special issue war gear relic or a chapter relic from Chaos Space Marines.
Chaos Space Marines.
Codex Space Marines. Yeah, see Chaos on the brain here, building these noise Marines. If you do replace the Dark Angels keyword in all instances on that relic, if any, with that model successor chapter keyword, you can only use the stratagem once. So it's your typical thing.
Yeah.
Tactical Appraisal. Use the stratagem in your command phase. Select one Dark Angels unit from your army within 6 inches of the warlord. Then select one combat doctrine. Until the start of your next command phase, for the purposes of that unit, treat that combat doctrine as being active for your army instead of the active combat doctrine. You can only use this stratagem if every unit from your army has the combat doctrine's ability, excluding Servitor, Agent of the Imperium, and unaligned units.
And that's
just
huge.
1 CP.
Yeah, for 1 CP, very situational. Like I said, if you need to be in the Assault Doctrine, if you need to be in the Heavy, like boom, done, 1 CP.
Yeah, well, this will activate Sons of the Lion too for that unit, I believe. The super doctrine, quote unquote. So you decide, if you did get in with Morty and it's only turn 2, you can get those rerolls of wound plus the AP, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The next one here we have is the Hunt. It's 2 CP, 3 CP. Use the stratagem at the start of the first battle round. Before the first turn begins, select one Raven Wing unit from your army. That unit can make a normal move as if it were your movement phase, but must end that move more than 9 inches away from any enemy models. If both players have units that can move before the first turn begins, the player who is taking the first turn moves their units first. If that unit contains 5 or fewer models, the stratagem is 2 CP, otherwise it's 3 CP. That seems like a fun one, just your pre-game move.
Oh yeah, well, I mean the War Leaders had something very similar, except it was only 1 CP. So this one's a little CP heavy, but
hold on. He can take before the battle begins. You can launch a squad of Outriders 9 inches away, and then you can move them, and then you can full throttle them.
Yes.
So that's like 52 inches of movement.
And as long as you're not, you're 9 inches away.
Yeah, it's 3 CP, board. But like, what's that?
That's the whole board. 60-inch board here.
Yeah, it's 3 CP, but I'm imagining a situation where someone has like Dark Reapers and like a ruin behind, and they're hiding them intentionally out of line of sight so that you can't see them, but they can come out and shoot, and then you just like take your bikes and just wrap around it so they
Just
literally
be
can't
high.
move. Okay, bye. Or like
Yeah.
Castellan robots or something. I don't know. There's some
Yeah.
funny stuff you
But
could
it
totally
does
do
say,
there.
but it does say the unit can make a normal move. I'm wondering if it's, and again, this is going to be words interpreted, this and that. Is I wonder if you're going to be able to use those extra stuff where it's that's no longer considered a normal move. It's added on to it.
Well, this is at the start of the first battle round,
Before the
before the
first
first turn
Before.
begins.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. So those stratagems a lot of times going to be popped during the game. So that's what I mean. Like I think here you're going to be able to take a bike if it has a 12-inch movement. You can only do the 12-inch movement, I think. Or I
It
might
sounds like
be reading
you're
into it too much.
I think you're crossing the two stratagems a little bit. So this one is you can make a normal move, which to me says you can move in advance. So a bike can move 14 inches with an auto 6 advance. It has to end up 9 inches away. Then the turn starts. Then you move that bike.
Oh, okay, you're
It's
okay.
base
I
move, and
my
then you
bad. No,
use
I thought
full
you were saying to
throttle.
do it all during the
No,
preset
no,
with
no,
this.
no,
That's
no,
why
no.
I'm like, well, I don't think you can do it all here, but okay,
No.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
This
Okay.
to me
you can get them up the board quick.
Yeah.
well, this to me is, oh, I got first turn, and there's something I really don't want shooting me. I'm just gonna go and just block it right
And
out,
just
or
tag it.
block you.
Yeah.
Like you could take the bikes and just literally wall them off in front of an objective right in front of your opponent that you didn't deploy on, and now you're just in his way. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
set up the next turn where you've
Yeah.
totally got it. I don't know. There's
Well,
some.
going back to what you were saying with slow armies, you take those bikes got those big oval bases, you just line them up sideways in front of a Death Guard
Exactly.
army.
Yeah, they're not
'Cause
unkillable, but they're
they
tough
can't kill
enough, right?
you before they
Yeah.
move. So
Well,
Well, that's what I
exactly
mean.
right.
Just stopping that first turn move, yeah, then you're taking that much longer to get up the board.
I think if you go second, which a lot of people are saying is really good now, I think this to me becomes a little less interesting. The upside of this is if you do go second and you realize that you don't like where that unit is, you can pop the stratagem right and move them into safety or something like that. So, if you were going all in, because it just says a Ravenwing unit, you could have,
Exactly.
like, that could be anything, right?
Yep.
So,
next on the list here is targeting guidance for 2 CP. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase. Select one enemy unit within 18 inches and visible to a Ravenwing land speeder or Ravenwing storm speeder unit from your army. Until the end of that phase, each time a model in a friendly Dark Angels unit makes a ranged attack against the selected enemy unit, add 1 to that attack's hit roll. So
Okay.
2 CP for +1 to hit.
this stacks nicely with the Sons of Lion.
As
Because
long as
now
your
it changes
land
your
speeders
ballistic
and
skill.
storm speeders can see them, but
Well, it's within 18 inches invisible. Yeah, right. So the Eradicators, that's like a chance for them to hit on 4s, shooting in
Yeah.
engagement range, right?
and just like, what are the land speeders and storm speeders? That's the thing. I don't play enough Marines to know what they are. Because from what I'm reading here, it's they have to see you, and then you can select a different Dark Angels unit.
You choose a unit that is visible to the land speeder or storm speeder.
So these Dark Angels will be inside the storm speeders or whatever. Or
No,
they
well,
transport.
storm speeders. There's land speeder storms, which might be one of, like, they would also be Ravenwing land speeders. They're transports for scouts. But no, this would just be a land speeder you have on a table, and basically there's another stratagem. I think it's Iron Hands that have it actually, where you can give the dreadnought like a reroll to 1s to hit or something like that.
If they have heavy weapons.
Yeah. So again, that's kind of something similar to this. They just came out with a bunch of land speeders. If you have a land speeder in your army, and there's another unit that it could see, any of the units that it could see within 18 inches, then you can pick that unit. It's just using the land speeder as basically your center point.
As your
Yeah,
line of
because
sight.
you're still choosing an like an enemy unit to be the target technically. So, but again,
Yeah,
for 2 CP, it's
kind of wondering how it works with obscuring. Like if you brought those storm speeders and land speeders up, kind of can see around the building that Dark Angels unit can't really see. Can that Dark Angels still shoot it? Because the other
no, because they're
stuff
only
can see
gaining
it.
for the ability if they're actually within range too. Is like they're not be able to shoot them from the actual spot of the land speeders. Essentially, the land speeders like putting spotlights on them, essentially, and then the other units like, oh, there they are, +1 to
the unit's gun
roll.
range wouldn't matter here. It's just as long as the land speeder is within 18 inches of the unit you want to pick, then you pick that unit. And obviously, if it was obscuring to the unit you wanted to shoot it, you wouldn't do it because the unit wouldn't be able to shoot at it, right?
Exactly.
So it's
it still
kind of
has
like
to be
marker lights in a way.
Yeah, I guess that's
kinda, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so the land speeder sees the unit within 18 inches, and then say you have whatever hell blasters that shoot 42 inches or whatever. Then those hell blasters, if they shoot that unit, they get +1 to the hit roll. So an interesting thing here to me is a lot of times you're seeing more forests and stuff in mid-board. This land speeder can actually get around those forests, pick a unit, and negate the effect of those forests, right? Because you get the +1, the forests do the -1, so it's a wash. And then if you had a chaplain nearby, you could give them +2 to hit. So now, no matter it's got some nice stuff. Or Alpha Legion, for example, they have the innate -1 to hit. This guy can get up, and now it doesn't matter if you're 12 inches away. It becomes a wash, right? So
Anyway, the next one on the list is Swift Strike. It's 2 CP or 3 CP. Use this stratagem in the fight phase after a Raven Wing unit from your army is fought. If that unit is within engagement range of any enemy units, it can fall back as if it were the movement phase. Otherwise, it can make a normal move as if it were the movement phase. If that unit contains 5 or fewer models, then it's 2 CP. If it's more, 3 CP.
I think this is an amazing stratagem.
That's the thing. Amazing. It's like you punch him in the face and then you run away.
Yeah.
It stops him from attacking you back.
Ring unit from your army has fought. So just peace out as soon as you're done.
Exactly. So like I said, your opponent doesn't get to fight back.
Yeah. So a funny scenario that I thought of for this is the way fighting works is after charges, you go first. So if it's in your opponent's phase, you can pick this unit to fight and dip. And now they just have a squad that's just, in the wind. And then if the unit's fast enough, like you take bikes, for example, and they can move 14 inches, right? Well, so they punch the crap out of it, zip across the board. Then it's your turn. They move another 14 inches. Yeah. Like, Raven Wing units are going to be where you need them. Mm-hmm. And then Deathwing is going to be that stay-at-home anvil. I don't know, man. This stratagem is awesome. I love it. It's everything a White Scars player dreams of.
It's everything everyone dreams of.
I don't know. My death card list doesn't have very many bikes.
Be all decaying and like flat tires and shit.
Just sludge. What are those AOS models? They ride the
Slimex, yeah.
Slimex, yeah. That's the death guard bikes. Yeah.
Anyway, the next one on the list, Secret Agenda. Use this stratagem after selecting a secondary objectives or agendas. Do not reveal one of your selections to your opponent. The first time you score victory points or experience points for it, reveal it to your opponent. Note that you must still have a record of your selection. We recommend writing it down and concealing it until revealed. Okay. You can only use the stratagem once.
I mean,
so you're hiding secondaries from somebody.
So this one bothers me, okay? Because deploy scramblers and other certain secondaries. While we stand, we fight. You don't score until the end of the game.
Exactly.
So, okay, while we stand, we fight is fine. Because I just don't tell you. I mean, you can look at my list, and if I tell you, it's just
but
the
do you
whole
have to tell the guy that that unit's deploying the scramblers because it is performing
That's what my problem is, right? So, you reveal your secondaries, so I tell you 2. But if it's like deploy scramblers where you don't score till the end of the game, that's really the big one that bothers me. While we stand and fight, it's just hilarious because.
Well, yeah, it's just like, oh, you didn't kill those guys. I got 15 points.
Well, and they don't. As far as I understand, you're not telling people what your third secondary is, so they don't even know that you took it.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't even know that they have to kill the 3 biggest units, and you take something like Deathwing Knights where you probably are better off just avoiding them, and you're like, oh well. I just scored 15 points and you didn't even know about it. But deploy scramblers is the weird one. Like, what do? You signal to the TO or something? Like, I don't know.
This unit's deployed. Don't tell him.
Yeah. Deploy scramblers really bothers me.
It's only when you score a victory point you reveal it. So
exactly, yeah.
You don't score any deploy till the end of the game, but you have to announce you're doing the action. right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is that going to
Dark
work?
Angels.
Well, you can sit there and say you deployed it, but then I have to think back to all your turns where you had a unit that, like, I guess you get suspicious, right? When like one unit moves and it can shoot something, you're just like, nah, I'm just not going to shoot it.
Yeah,
Like,
they're on their iPads, or they're making a game plan, and yeah.
I don't know. It's odd. It's very Dark Angels, I'll say that much.
Well, exactly.
Choose a Chaos Codex of your liking. Don't tell your opponent which one until you use a stratagem from it.
Done.
Anyway.
Yeah, choose whatever legion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next CP is Stasis Shell, 2 CP. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase. When a Ravenwing model from your army shoots with an Astartes grenade launcher, that model can only make one attack with that weapon this phase. If a hit is scored, the target is caught in a stasis until the start of your next turn and the attack sequence ends. While a unit is caught in stasis, it cannot fall back.
Excluding vehicle and monster. I was gonna say, could you imagine hitting Morty with that or something? He's like, sorry. So just out of curiosity, so what is stasis? I'm assuming that's something right out of the actual Space Marine Codex.
Well, it's a stasis shell. They're just putting somebody to sleep, essentially, I think is what it is.
No,
Your grenade
like
launcher shocking them enough to make
I think
them...
stasis is like
you're
you're
not
suspended still in time or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's an interesting one.
It's 2 CP, and
It's cutting
you're going to
stasis
stop
till
a
the start
unit
of your
from falling
next
back.
turn.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, if you want to stop it, like, say if there's like a aggressor units or something like that, it's like if they get their shots off, you're screwed. It's like, not this time.
I mean, it's until your next shooting phase or whatever pretty much that thing lays on it. So, yeah, you shoot a unit that you know you're going to hit with your bikes or something, then yeah, sure. That unit ain't getting away.
Exactly.
It can't fall back. I mean, it's not, and it doesn't affect vehicle or monsters. So
it's going to be limited to like foot troops or something like that. But
yeah,
it's kind of seems like a sort of safety measure for you're going to charge something just so your stuff
like
doesn't get shot.
or something.
Yeah,
because if you're engaged, it can't shoot you. So you put this thing in stasis and charge it with OBSEC. Like it kind of seems like something where it's like, okay, there's 10 Blight Lords on this objective, and I really need this objective, and all I have is 2 intercessors. Maybe I can like get them in or that's a horrible example. That's the worst. That's like literally the opposite example.
Right, man.
Yeah, because it's just I was thinking they can't act, but it's just a no fallback.
yeah.
So, I mean, there's uses, right? Huh?
Death Guard want you in combat.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I think I blatantly misunderstood the stratagem because I was getting caught up on this model can only make one attack with that weapon, and that's what I was thinking. But that's for you shooting the grenade.
Yeah,
launcher.
You're shooting the actual grenade launcher to do this. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So ignore me.
You're overthinking it.
I have to, man.
And the last stratagem we have here is weapons from the Dark Age. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when a Dark Angels unit from your army is selected to shoot. Until the end of that phase, add 1 to the damage characteristic of plasma weapons.
It's garbage. You can never take this.
Models in this unit are equipped with.
Hell blasters all the way right there. Overcharged them, 3 damage. That's just fucking dirty.
Marines. He says hell blasters over inceptors.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Imagine if Justin got that on his Inceptors.
Yeah. I can't imagine it. With my Death Guard, I'd be like, well, no harm, no foul. -1/+1 damage.
Exactly. It's like +1 -1. I'm still dying. I only got 2 wounds.
I think,
but that's a huge thing against that. Like I said, against Plague Marines with 2 wounds -1, you hit them with 3, still killing them off. So.
Yeah, -1 damage is becoming popular. See,
So,
the Death Guard Codex, all the Dreadnoughts and stuff got it.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called now. I can't remember what the rule is now. Anyway, it's like Duty Eternal. There it is.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so moving on, we got the Warlord traits. You want to jump on this one, Justin? I think he fell asleep.
He's gone.
That's all good. I'll jump on this one.
I can run with it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Warlord traits. If a Dark Angel's model is your Warlord, you can choose from this table below, blah, blah, blah. It's typical Warlord trait stuff. The first Warlord trait you can take is Brilliant Strategist. In your command phase, you can select one friendly Dark Angel's unit within 6 inches of this Warlord. Until the start of your next command phase, there's 2 bullets here. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, if the Tactical Doctrine is active for your army, then the Devastator Doctrine is considered to be active for that attack instead. And then the second bullet, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, if the Assault Doctrine is active for that or active for your army, then the Tactical Doctrine is considered to be active for that attack instead. It's just another way to work around your doctrines.
Exactly.
To rewind, yeah. It's fine. Azrael and Lazarus, this is their inherent Warlord trait.
Mm.
The next one, Fury of the Lion, is an aura. While a friendly Dark Angel's unit is within 6 inches of this Warlord, if this Warlord has made a charge move, was charged, or performed heroic intervention this turn, add 1 to the strength characteristic models in that unit.
Yeah, you see that every once in a while. Or actually, no, you're actually giving it to... Oh, okay. Because I know a lot of times, like, you can actually give it to yourself, but if you actually have a unit next to you, getting the +1 strength. That actually is a pretty good one if you run them up with them, yeah.
Well, it beefs up your shock assault, right?
Oh, yeah.
So there's some interesting breakpoints there because Deathwing Knights, for example, are strength 8. So at ×2... Oh, no, that would be 9 now. They just changed
it'd be
that
9.
to this edition. Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to do the ×2, then you do the add-ons afterwards.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
The next one on the list is Calbanite Knight. Each time this Warlord makes a melee attack against an infantry or biker unit, an unmodified wound roll of 2 is always successful.
Yeah, I like this one. It makes it takes away the major downfall of a lot of the sword weapons because they usually don't have a great strength profile, but they're AP and sometimes they have D3 and mortal wounds and stuff. So being able to put this on it now, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're
just wounding on 2s. I mean, it's infantry and biker, but you pick your battles, right? I mean,
exactly.
Infantry is just super important. So,
well, yeah, man. I mean,
no, but
it's all 9th right now. We don't see a lot of vehicles.
Yeah, but I mean, especially right now, like I said, whenever you're having multiple Warlord traits, multiple relics, and like I said, you throw this on a lieutenant or something, you run them in with another unit, and
yeah, it lets you be a little more picky about your weapon loadouts. So
yeah,
it's nice.
Then the next Warlord trait we have is Stubborn Tenacity. When this Warlord is destroyed, if it does not explode, you can use this Warlord trait instead of using any other abilities that take effect as a result of this model being destroyed, like Astartes Banner or something. If you do, this Warlord is not removed from play until the start of the next turn or the end of the battle, whichever comes first. Until that happens, it is still considered to be in play, but any further wounds this Warlord would lose are not lost.
That's an interesting one.
I love it. It's awesome.
That's very different, yeah.
Yeah.
So with that being said, though, like, so he's still considered to be dead. Like, can you still technically use
him? You can do
him?
Everything with him.
Okay.
He's undead.
He's there. You just can't hurt him anymore.
He's the ultimate chaos HQ. He's undead. And the dead walk until the start of the next turn.
He ascended to demonhood until the end, and he dies.
If you really needed to block a unit from getting something, and then he just died, but you don't remove him until your turn.
Dude, see, turn 4, you just throw him up the board. If you go turn 5, okay, you could shoot him, but whatever.
Yeah,
he's just gonna march into my turn and fight and shoot. I love it, dude. It's awesome. I would just take this just because it's like I don't know, man. It's so funny to me.
It's just a fun one to take.
Yeah, man. Who gets this anyway? Ezekiel. Okay.
The next one on the list is Divisive Tactician. It's an aura. While a friendly Dark Angel's core unit is within 6 inches of this Warlord, add 1 to the advance and charge rolls made for that unit. That's another
good
thing
for bikes and stuff.
Never really seen a lot of these Dark Angels stuff yet.
Oh yeah, no, true enough there.
Now cancel 8. The litany doesn't stack, so I don't know. I mean, you can get better from a chaplain, but
yeah. Honor the First Legion is the last one from the first 6. This Warlord is eligible to perform heroic intervention if it is within 6 inch horizontally and 5-inch vertically of an enemy unit. Each time this warlord makes a heroic intervention move, so long as it ends that move closer to the closest enemy model, it can move up to 6 inches. All other rules for heroic interventions apply.
Okay.
Yeah. So your 6-inch heroic intervention needs no selling.
Yeah.
Tried and
Yeah.
true, man.
Eric.
Yeah. Here,
Raven
go
Wing
ahead.
warlord traits. You get lightning fast reactions. If you roll 1 to 3, each time an attack is made against the warlord, subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll. And then
I've heard of this. Lightning fast reactions. Where have I heard this before?
See,
-1 to hit.
I think
Xenos got
yeah.
this.
Well, I think they wrote the word reactions kind of wrong because like there is a RE there, but no.
I'm confused because I thought these guys were loyalists pretending to be chaos, but now they're loyalists pretending to be chaos but stealing stuff from Xenos.
It's like you take the
Is
helmet
this-
off. It's like, why are you filing your ears down? Don't ask questions.
Yeah.
The other one, Raven Wing
Eldrad, is that
warlords
you?
can get. The other one, Raven Wing warlord traits, there is a Master of Maneuver. This warlord is eligible to either shoot or charge in a turn in which it fell back. So
Which is
super
kind of good
good.
because you're
the
starting to see a
Raven
lot of
Wings
things
tend
with
to
the
be your
whole
bikes and
fallback.
stuff. So if you had a bike chaplain or something like that, it could be good.
Well, Space Marines, shock assault's a big deal, right? So
Yeah.
any turn where you can fall back and charge is just basically another free attack, but it also gives you so much more. As you guys were saying, the higher the base move, the more vicious this becomes, right?
Yeah.
It's a great warlord trait for Ravenwing for sure.
Big time.
With the Deathwing warlord traits, you get watched. So once per battle in your opponent's psychic phase, this warlord can attempt to resist 1 additional psychic power, even if it is not a psyker, and even if it is not within 24 inches of the enemy model manifesting that psychic power. When taking the Deny the Witch test, do not roll the dice. It is automatically pass.
That is huge. Like
That's a
turn
solid
1, and you got like Lord of Change or something sitting in the back, and you just want to get that one off no matter what. Just like,
Dude,
nope.
You don't even have to be within 24 inches. Like
Yeah,
you can
and
be
you don't even
far
have to roll.
away.
That's huge.
So this was around as of the PA, and this literally guts an Alpha Strike Chaos Space Marine list because you can stop that warp time.
Yep. And like I said, you don't even need to be anywhere.
You don't need to be. You're just on the board. And I think, if memory serves me correct, I think Deathwing Knight's got like a baby version of this, Watcher in the Dark. If the model attempting to manifest psychic power as a Chaos Psyker, you can reroll the Deny the Witch test.
Okay. Against Chaos only rerollable. So I mean, still kind of good.
So the Deathwing Knights just get that.
Kind,
but, yeah, Watch is insane. I mean, it's going to mean nothing against some armies. Like, there's some armies that just don't take Psykers, period. I mean, I don't know if you guys watch the Nopen, but like Psykers and Imperium isn't a very popular combination.
No, you're only seeing it against other than Chaos.
Chaos, and then the few Xenos armies. I think Eldar probably
the
still
one
don't
Eldar
or Harley too, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and Orcs. I'm going to dead jump. No, sir. No, you are not. Anyway, it's powerful.
The wog
I think
is sad.
Having this in your pocket is.
I don't know. It's definitely huge.
You are not worthy to wield such power, sir.
It does suck that it is just once per battle. I mean, but again, it's like you said, like that turn 1 drop in, stop warp time, and then like you said, they're fucked from there. So.
Well, and the scary part is the longer they don't use it, the longer you basically have to walk on eggshells, right? Because there's no limitation to this.
No,
they can
it's just
pick
one
a
strike.
psychic.
Yep.
Nope. So
the next Deathwing warlord trait you can get is Inexorable.
I've
Each
heard
time
this
an attack,
before too.
Yeah. I wonder where we're hearing all this stuff. Each time an attack is allocated to this warlord, subtract 1 from that attack's damage characteristic.
I remember hearing that with it too.
Sounds very chaos to me.
Oh man.
Anyway.
I told you. I told you from day one. They're not loyalists, but now I think they're just straight up confused. That's all I'm gonna say. They're just confused.
I mean, we said it, and every Dark Angels player has rolled their eyes. Explain this.
Yeah.
Or don't use it. Anyway.
So then at the bottom there, it just tells you what your name characters get. Like
as
Mod Eye gets Fury the Lion, Azrael gets Brilliant Strategist. Belial gets Inexorable. Ezekiel gets Stubborn Tenacity. Lazarus gets Brilliant Strategist, and Samael gets Master of Maneuver.
Which is nice for him.
Yeah.
Because he is a Talon Master thing. It's like a big flyer thing character, so he could fall back, shoot, and charge. It's actually pretty solid for him.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to Discipline. Did you want to take this one over here?
Sure.
I think Justin's probably still sleeping somewheres.
No, he was. He said no. He said his mic keeps cutting in and out. So
Okay, gotcha.
Might have just had enough with it. So this is the Dark Angels Discipline. I can't read this word. Danny, would you like to give it a shot?
Intromancy.
Interomancy.
My word of the episode.
Set up for failure. I say you get him to do spell number 4 too.
Why do you think I passed this on? This is my turn to read stuff. I'm looking at these words. I'm like, no, fuck that.
I ain't doing that. I ain't saying that.
Trying to give myself a little dignity. You had the room.
Yeah, there you go. You're just scanning ahead, saying, "I'll read this one. This one looks good."
Well, exactly.
Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with the beginning a little bit. It's just the standard Dark Angels psychic tree. There's 6 powers. So we have Mind Worm, which goes off on a 6. It is 18 inches. You pick one enemy unit. They suffer 1 mortal wound until the start of your next fight phase. Until the start of your next psychic phase. In the fight, relax. Until the start of your next psychic phase. In the fight phase, that unit is not eligible to fight until all other eligible units from your army have done so. So it's like a specifically worded fight last.
Exactly. And I find that's another one you're starting to see more people get it, actually, just to have that one ability to stop whatever unit to go first and make them go dead last.
Yeah, it has to fight after all of your units have fought. So they can. Anyway, that's it's very clear how it is intended to work. So the second spell is Aversion, Malediction. Okay, that's the type of. I remember they introduced this, and I don't know if it has any relevance in match play. Maybe it's a Crusade thing, but Aversion has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one enemy unit within 24 inches of the psyker until the start of your next psychic phase. While that unit is within 6 inches of this psyker, subtract 1 from the attack characteristic of models in that unit, and each time a model in that unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from that attack's hit rolls. Ooh, so 1 less attack per model. And hitting at -1.
So you're crippling that unit, but the only thing is, like I said, you need that psyker to be within 6 inches of that unit.
Yeah, he's got to be.
From what I remember with Dark Angels is he's going to be there.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like you make it on like a bike chaplain or something like that, he's going to be in the brunt of it all. And
the only part that has the within 6 inches is the -1 attack. You can sit back at 24 inches and make a unit -1 to hit. Or hit on -1, because the second bullet is just each time a model in that unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from that attack's hit roll. So it has uses up until you get it in there, and once it's in there.
Yeah, I'm just kind of hoping it's not one of those read as written type thing, because like I said, it's like I'm wondering if both bullet points have to be within 6 and they're just not writing it twice, or just how you're saying.
I have to believe they know better by now. Yeah. So this is specifically from 24 inches. That enemy unit is -1 to hit, or subtracting 1 from their attack's hit rolls. And if he does get caught in it, you don't have to be aggressive with him. But if he does, then you can look at the unit and say, I'm quote unquote turning off the fact that you're world eaters by subtracting an attack or whatever. Right. So it isn't just useful within 6 inches. So Righteous Repugnance. This was a big one for buffing Deathwing Knights and prior to this Codex. So it has a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select one friendly Dark Angels unit within 12 inches of the psyker until the start of your next psychic phase. Each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, you can reroll the hit roll and you can reroll the wound roll. So this kind of we heard earlier, that there's ways to get reroll hit 1 and have it finish hit 2, and then they get the reroll wounds from the Sons of Lion.
Yeah.
This just kind of. I believe in before it used to be something different, or maybe it was their doctrine that was different. I don't believe they could as easily access the full rerolls to wound and hit. I think the doctrine was just plus 6 inches to range or something, and now they've changed it so that if you're Raven Wing or not in between or Deathwing, now the doctrine's good for all 3 types of units, which I think is a
Okay.
really great change for them, and makes this spell good, but not like auto take like it was before.
Yeah.
So 4 is Trephination. It has a warp charge value of 5. If manifested, select the closest enemy unit within 18 inches of and visible to the Psyker suffers D3 mortal wounds. If the result of the psychic test was greater than the leadership characteristic of the enemy model, that enemy unit suffers 3 mortal wounds instead. So
Not bad. I mean, you're only getting 1 to 3 mortal wounds out of it, but
yeah, I don't imagine seeing the. Yeah, I don't know about this one because after this you still have the base brain psychic tree with like, priority fighting and stuff like that. I don't know. This one seems like a lower tier one, but maybe there's something later on, a relic or something that it's like, because I mean the only thing I can think of that gives -1 leadership is Reavers, and they're Reavers.
yeah.
So unfortunately, so number 5 is Engulfing Fear. It has a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select 1 enemy unit within 24 inches of the Psyker. Until the start of your next psychic phase, subtract 1 from leadership characteristics of the models in this unit. Number 2, which is massive, that unit cannot use the objective secured ability or any similar abilities that allow them to control an objective marker, regardless of the number of enemy models within range of an objective marker. And the third point, if the result of the psychic test was equal to or greater than the leadership of the unit, that unit cannot perform actions.
That's huge one.
Godly.
If it's currently performing the action, it immediately fails.
Automatic fails. Wow.
Yeah.
I like point 2 the most there because
custodies.
Oh man, like you throw that on like. No, I think this by far, I'm calling it right now. It's an auto take no matter what you're doing.
It's funny that they make something like this because I literally just said that Psychers aren't that popular in Imperium, and now you know that this is going to be out there, and you're going to want a way to stop it, right?
Yeah.
Like, how bad would that feel? Imagine the mirror match. Oh, I'm putting my 10 Deathwing on this one. Well, I'm putting my 10 Deathwing on this one. Well, I'm going to cast a Psychic spell so you can't hold it. Well, I'm going to cast this Psychic spell so you can't hold it.
And you just got this, like, the one only guy be like, I have it.
It's like, comes down to, like, a 2v2 of Intercessors. Who will win? The victor shall have glory. Anyway, so the final Psychic spell is called Mind Wipe. It has a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select 1 enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psyker, then select 1 aura ability that unit has. Until the start of your next psychic phase, Morty cannot use that aura. Oh.
That hurts.
Morty cannot use that aura that turns off auras.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway,
no, to be honest, 5 and 6 are looking pretty solid.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Both go off on a 7, so it's better than Warp Time, to be honest.
There's actually, aside from Trephination, which was just the leadership one, like, I think you can make an argument for all 5 of these.
No, they definitely all have the right spot, definitely.
It's weird
because, like I said, I enjoyed like Aversion. Like that one's pretty good. Like I said, the stop like a -1 to attack characteristics, and then -1 from the attack rolls is definitely huge there in its own. Yeah. Then number 3, same thing. Reroll hits, reroll wounds. Like they are all solid except for number 4. But like I said, I think it's at this point, it's the one that does the mortal wounds.
Nice.
But then, no, and I think it's what it is. It's like almost anybody you look at, there's always going to be that one psychic power that's trying to do mortal wound output. And it's just, this one just does not seem to be anything too special, I guess. Nothing that I would, but I mean, it's a 5. I mean, if you're running Psyker heavy, which I highly doubt, maybe, but meh.
The question to me is with the way things are right now, where you have to write everything into a list before you submit it. If you didn't have to do that, I could easily see you going up against an army with like whatever. I don't know, man. I think you definitely want to bring a librarian, and I think you definitely don't want to take that. I think there's so much more.
No.
I'm not even going to try to propose a
everything else
scenario
works the best, yeah.
Where this has weight, because held up next to the other 5, it's just. But I think Dark Angel players, you should definitely start painting up your librarians right now. That's for sure.
Yep, definitely.
If you haven't.
So moving on, we got the Relics of the Rock. So again, we'll just skip the basic stuff because it's all the same. So starting off, we have the Mace of Redemption. Model equipped with a Power Maul or a little blurred out Crozius Arcanum.
Yeah, that's the
I'm
chaplain
right.
weapon.
Oh, okay. This relic replaces the power maul of that and has the following profile. So it's a melee, strength times 2, AP minus 3, damage 2, and the abilities are each time an attack is made with this weapon against a fallen or heretic Astartes unit, an unmodified wound roll of 4 plus inflicts 2 mortal wounds on the target and the attack sequence ends. I'm okay with that. I prefer the additional ones, especially whenever you're starting to get relics and stuff like that. But I mean, whatever. Like flat 2 mortal wounds.
Well,
I'll take
it guarantees it. The big buff for this is Crozi's Arcanum is only +1 strength
okay,
and
so here's
neg
the
2, I
times.
believe. So I think it's +1 strength, neg 1, or sorry, neg 2, 2 damage, or it could be neg 2, or it's definitely 2 damage. Anyway, this gives you a lot more punching power and
Yeah,
those
because you're going
wounds.
to at least strength 8 minus 3, and then
Yeah, and I know, like I agree that I'm a fan of the adding mortal wounds to it, but the fact that this turns your 2 damage to mortal wounds on only a 4 plus, and
I guess
you
that's the big
forgo
one.
the
Yeah,
invulnerable save, you forgo any save unless they have a feel no pain, they
yeah.
are taking 2 damage. It's pretty good.
So next one is the Pennant of Remembrance, essentially Deathwing Ancient model only. In your command phase, select one Deathwing infantry core unit from your army within 6 inches of the bearer. Until the start of your next command phase, each time an attack is allocated to a model in that unit, subtract 1 from the damage characteristics to an attack minimum of 1. So the Pennant of Disgusting Resilience. Okay, I get it.
Take this, bring
Oh,
an ancient.
oh yeah.
Put him in deep strike with your Deathwing
Oh
Knights
man, hands
who have
down.
OBSEC.
Yeah.
Profit.
Oh, next one we have is the Shroud of Heroes. Each time an attack is made against this bear, subtract 1 from the attack hit roll. We're starting to see a lot of these -1s, but they're, like I said, they're all well worth taking.
Yeah.
Next one we have now is Reliquary of the Repent.
Pretty close.
Close enough. Close enough.
Reliquary. Yeah.
I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah,
It wasn't
I'm taking my time. It's not my
boo
best
talk.
work, but
It wasn't boo talk Astartes, so
oh,
big improvement.
just boobs. That's all I'm thinking. Boob talk. There.
Boo talk.
Yeah, man, it's just all that Slanesh sitting on Brian's table. Okay, give me a break. Jesus,
fair
it's
enough.
been a week. So this one is just Raven Wing bike model only. While an enemy unit is within 3 inches of the bearer, each time an invulnerable saving throw is made for a model in that unit that has an invulnerable save of a 4 up or better, the saving throw is only successful on an unmodified roll of a 5 plus. That's different.
So this is insane because I don't know if anyone watched the Nopen this weekend, but the finals had 2 While we fight custodian guard squads with 3 up invuls.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so this is a Raven Wing biker. Okay. And now you can take this Raven Wing biker, zip him to wherever that unit is with this relic, and shoot the shit out of them.
Because as long as it's 4 or better, it doesn't matter. It could be a 2-up invul, and you're be like, you're a 5.
Yes.
Screw
so
you,
now,
Archon.
like Eradicators, dude. Eradicators
man.
shooting into like Storm Shield Terminators. Like, sorry, you're saving on 5 up, and we're doing like D6. Like this relic
that's
is
huge.
nuts.
Man,
This
I
is
hope
worth
they change
the
Archons
CP.
2 up.
Oh my
Dude.
god.
And you don't even need.
That's true.
It's not even like a massive investment because like a Raven Wing, I think a Raven Wing apothecary on bike, if I'm not mistaken. There was an old stratagem where a Deathwing Knight unit could deep strike within 5 inches of a unit if there was a Raven Wing unit near that or something like that.
Yeah.
So people were just slotting in a Raven Wing elite biker, a Raven Wing apothecary. Now you put this relic on it. They can't come in like that anymore because that was a psychic awakening thing.
Yeah.
But it's so easy to come by and just like invulnerable saves are so big right now, right? Like
you're seeing it everywhere. It's because of the whole
like Rubric Marines, dude. They can get a 2-up invul.
Yep.
You can't. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, like think about it. Run it up to Lord of Change.
Actually, I need to correct myself because Rubric Marines don't actually get a 2-up invul. They get a +1 to save. I'm wondering if
it's
this,
unmodified or whatever.
Yeah, that's actually.
It's hard to say, but still, Lord of Change.
Unmodified roll of 5+. Yeah, so it says it right in the relic. So, yeah, man. I mean, Good lord.
Now crazy.
Yeah, the big thing with that on me is the Drukari's Archon. That
Yeah,
2-up. You get the 2-up until you fail it, but that's going to make it a 5-up.
Oh, you're gonna
It's a
fail
lot
it
easier
right
to
away.
fail.
Man,
Yeah.
I fail 2-up on the first roll every time, let alone a 5-up.
Yeah. And
So
there's a lot of things in like Eldari particularly. I know a lot. There's several units that depend on getting in melee to get a 4-up infall. I
Yeah.
think witches and
Well,
troops,
witches,
right?
yeah.
Witches,
If you're within in close combat, you get the 4-up.
So it's like you're not even safe there now because
No.
you had to come to me,
Yep.
and this guy's here, and a blade of wounds on my Deathwing Knights are just gonna shred you.
Yeah.
I mean, you
So
still get a
next-
5, right? So
Yeah,
demon players are
exactly.
like, okay, it's not that bad, but I mean, going
Yeah,
from
it's
like
like,
a
this is
3
all
up
we
to a
get.
5 up is like
Yeah.
against custodians, that's like
Yeah.
lights out.
So next one down we have is Foe Smiter. Essentially, it's ranged, or it's a model equipped with a Storm Bolter only. Essentially, it's 24-inch, Assault 4, Strength 5, -1, 2 damage. Straight Jane, no extra abilities.
Yeah, there seems to be this like exact relic in a lot of books.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah. Next one is the Eye of the Unseen. Essentially, the bearer gains the following ability: Fear Aura. While enemy units within 6 inches of the bearer, subtract 1 from the leadership characteristic of models in that unit. And point 2 is at the start of the fight phase. If an enemy character unit is within engagement range of the bearer, that unit is not eligible to fight until all other eligible units from that army have done so. So again, still making something to kind of fight back at the bottom. But there's also another part here is a Ravenwing Talon Master is eligible to be given this relic even though it is a vehicle. Interesting.
Yeah, it's like their character speeder.
Okay,
Speeder
gotcha.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy because now I think you have 4 options, or as a Dark Angels army, they might be getting too carried away with this. Because
The whole
now
fight
you're
last,
getting
yeah.
yeah, because there's going to be so much of it now. It's going to be like, okay, well everything fights last, so I guess we just do combat as normal, or
No, true enough, because it would just go back and forth if you can get enough of them taken off.
yeah, because they're always using the wording until all other eligible units from your army have done so.
So if
right?
there's other charged units or whatnot, and
So there's just going to be like, I wonder if it's going to be this thing where like it starts off, people are stacking all these fight last things to a point, and then everyone realizes that everyone has it, so it's just almost wasting points. And then like this one dude's going to show up like 4 months after and be like, everything fights last, and people forgot about me or whatever. I don't know. Interesting. There'll be I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, so last one here is the Cup of Retribution, chaplain model only. Once per battle, the bearer can recite the Feast of Malediction litany instead of reciting the litany that is knows. If it does, do not roll to see if the litany is inspiring. It is automatically inspiring. So essentially, it's while friendly Dark Angel's core units within 6 inches of this priest, add one to the attack's characteristic of models in that unit.
Yeah, Deathwing Knights have core, so that's all you need to know about that, I think.
Yeah. Nope. Dirty. So moving on, we got the special issued war gear. If you want to take this one over here.
Sure. If you are a Space Marine player, you already know the first half of this. Adamantine Mantle, Artificier Armor, Mastercraft Weapon, Digital Weapons. Those are all the same. We've seen those. So I'm just going to jump to the Dark Angel specific ones. So first we have Heavenfall Blade, model equipped with a Power Sword, Mastercraft Power Sword, Relic Blade, or Executioner's Relic Blade. This relic replaces one of those, and it becomes +2, -4, 2 damage. And each time the bearer fights, it can make 1 additional attack with this weapon, and a Ravenwing Talon Master can also have this. So it's nice to see. I mean, I think Talon Masters might be the best candidate for this. Maybe with the Warlord trait that lets you always wound on 2s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gets an extra attack plus shock assault. You got yourself a nice little mobile blender. Or fallback and charge or something. I don't know. It's cool. But
Sounds almost like the Death Guard lawnmowers.
yeah. But you can give it to sergeants too. So I mean, if you have like a Terminator squad or something. So the next one's Arbiter's Gaze. So there's 2 bullets here. The first one, each time the bearer makes an attack, a hit roll of 2+ is always successful, excluding when firing Overwatch.
No, it says including when firing Overwatch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you could see better than mine. It was a 50-50 for me. Okay, so even on Overwatch, this thing hits on twos, irrespective of any modifiers or abilities that the target may have. And the second bullet is each time the bearer makes an attack, the target does not receive the benefits of cover against that attack.
Hmm.
Um,
Interesting. Okay.
well, so again, jumping back to like say an Eradicator squad, and I think this is one of the things you can give to a sergeant if one of you guys wants to take a look. Mark for command. Um,
Yeah, and this is another one that could be given to the Talon Master. Yeah.
no, so it excludes them. It's just digital weapons atonement bolter of something. Anyway, but yeah, so yeah, Talon Master, for example, overwatching on twos is very real. So yeah, that's super cool.
Hmm.
No cover saves, so you know your AP is guaranteed, and you can give it to a Ravenwing Talon Master, as you guys just said.
Yeah.
It's eligible to be given this relic. So another good candidate, maybe better than the sword. I'm not sure. Um, so the next relic is Atonement, which replaces a plasma pistol, uh, and it becomes Strength 9, Neg 4, Flat 3 damage. So you know,
That's
It's
nice.
quite the pistol.
quite the
Yeah.
pistol. Yeah, Morty wouldn't be jealous, but it's
No,
cool, I
I,
guess.
I I can see Cypher, carrying this around.
Safer, maybe.
Actually, I think Cypher is actually probably a little bit better if I remember correctly. Let me take a look in the Chaos book. Just give me a second.
It could be, but I'm pretty sure from what I've gathered, Fallen directly nerf your army if you bring them in a Dark Angels list. But anyway, so Bolts of Judgment is the last one. When you give a model this relic, select one bolt weapon that model is equipped with. Each time the bearer shoots with that weapon, you can choose for it to fire a bolt of judgment. If you do, you can only make one attack with that weapon, but the attack has an armor penetration characteristic of -2 and a damage characteristic of 3. When making the attack, unless the target is a vehicle or monster, a wound roll of 2 is always successful, and a Ravewing Talonmaster can be given
Yeah.
this as well.
Interesting.
Um,
Got lots of choices for your Talon Master.
yeah, I mean it's
But that's just one bolt of
And
judgment.
it's one shot. It's essentially like, I don't
when I
know.
was
It's kind of like a small plasma pistol, essentially, or plasma gunshot. But
Yeah, I hate to draw parallels with Chaos, but like when I was first reading it, it started. I was hoping that it was going to turn into something like my pistol now does mortal wounds, D3 mortal wounds, and I can get out of this situation. But this is
mm,
a straight up relic.
yeah,
So
eh,
I mean, it's much better than a pistol. Don't get me wrong, but
no, true, but it's not something that you would take over some of the other ones.
yeah, for sure. But so that pretty much wraps it up. Again, I think for me the big thing here is bearing in mind that this is the Ravenwing Talon Master, aside from these, doesn't really seem to have a lot of options for
Mm,
relics. So it's nice to see you can do some cool things with.
exactly. And then we'll finish this episode off with their specific chapter approved rules. This is something I'm really enjoying. It's nice to see that each codex is getting their own special ones. They're not always the greatest of ones, but it's still nice to have. Like if you're playing Dark Angels, you got your specific ones that another person's not going to have. Same with the Death Guard. But yeah, so
Yeah.
starting off with this one, we have Purge the Enemy. So if you select this objective, then after both sides have deployed, but before the first turn begins, your opponent must select one character model from their army. If their army does not contain, oh, go ahead.
The it's actually called martial interdiction.
Oh, it's
It
per.
falls under the
Okay,
category of purge enemy. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I just
my
wanted to.
bad.
I was
No,
just
it's
gonna
all
say
good.
it after he was done reading it, but yeah.
I raised my hand like a good little student. No one could see. Anyway,
uh, Now I gotta find where I was. Okay, so my bad. So it must select one character model from the army. If their army does not contain any character models, then they must select their warlord instead. Score victory points at the end of the battle as follows. Score 6 victory points if the selected enemy model was destroyed by a melee attack made by a Dark Angels model from your army. Score 3 additional victory points if the selected enemy model was destroyed by a melee attack made by an Inner Circle or Deathwing model from your army, and score 6 additional victory points of Dark Angel's model unit that is destroyed, or that
That's
destroyed the
destroyed.
selected enemy model has not itself been destroyed. Okay, so this is interesting. So you definitely get your full 15 points, but to get the 15 points, you need to make all 3 points.
Yeah.
you basically need a Deathwing model to kill it and survive the battle, and you get
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
seems likely. I don't know, man.
Inner circle
mean,
though, like your inner circle guys got transhuman.
True enough.
They're going to be beefy, hard to remove. So
Yeah, the only downside I can see to this is they're picking the character. Your opponent gets to pick the character,
Exactly. Yeah.
and it's dependent on a Deathwing unit. And a lot of the Deathwing stuff is like Terminator armor. It's not exactly the fastest.
Mm.
So, if
He
I'm
puts him at one
playing,
corner or something.
well, I mean, imagine yourself, I'm against you and you're playing Chaos, and you'd put it on like a jump pack Sork or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
and just have him go
And like,
everywhere. No, true
well,
enough.
and the funny part is, it kind of works against you because now if you do put this guy in a situation where he's going to die, I'm just going to put him somewhere where I want another one of your units to kill him. Deathwing Knights, a lot of the Deathwing stuff can't shoot very well. Its best chance of killing things is in combat. So if
But that's
I'm
the
really
thing,
like
and this
stuck,
just says it needs to be in close combat. So
yeah, like
yeah, like you could easily throw a jump pack lord into a weak part of his army that you know you just kill, and you deny him points.
Warp time him up and stand up beside the Ravenwing Outriders and just smite the shit out of them until your Deathwing Knights get there. It kind of, there's a lot to think about, and there's definitely counterplay to it, but it's cool. I mean, I can see it going both ways. I'm not fully versed in all the units that are getting the Deathwing keywords. Because I know there's a good amount in the Space Marine Codex, and I'm not a Dark Angels player, but the main one is Blade Guard vets. And again, I mean, without an advance in charge, and with just bolt pistols, they're probably not killing a character, right? Unless it's a melee. So, the opponent, you're definitely giving the opponent a lot of power here. And then there's the other thing. It could just be something in Terminator armor, and I could decide I just don't really need it this turn, and you've picked the secondary. I'm just going to sit him in deep strike until as long as possible, then bring him in across the board. You've costed me this character, but if I've deemed that it's not that great, if you're running watched,
but I just made you lose 15 points, and that's pretty game deciding right there.
Yeah, right. So I mean, I think it would be different now. Let me just. Your opponent must select one character model. So that's the part.
Yeah, if you were able to choose, but again, even if I chose something, you like same thing, be like, oh well, I'm going to keep him in deep strike. So either way, there's ways around it to stop you from scoring it. So let's see what the other ones, if they're any better. The next one is Death on the Wind. Score 2 victory points each time an enemy unit is destroyed by an attack made by a Ravenwing model from your army that moved 12 inches or more during the movement phase of that turn, or made a charge move that turn. Okay, that's kind of different.
It's going to be matchup dependent, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be some lists where it's just, like imagine this person nominating or electing to willingly have to kill 5 Death Guard units. Like it's not.
Well, to max out to get 14 points, you need to kill 7 units by moving 12 inches or charging them.
Right. I'm just saying, like, 10's like a good. If you can get 10 on a victory point, I say that's like a good number, right? So I just said 5 for that purpose, and then there's a clause beyond it where you have to move 12 inches or more. So it's stuck to bikes and speeders and stuff like that. And
or if you get a charge off, like you can get a charge off by a foot unit and still count, but.
Well, it has to move 12 inches or more. Move in the movement phase.
No, it says that in your army that moved 12 inches or more, or made a charge move that turn. Is the last point right there? So it says
or made a charge move.
Exactly.
Yes, correct. Yeah, so that's probably the safer bet.
Exactly.
So move 12 inches or more during the movement phase of that turn, or
exactly,
you're right. Again, it's tough. I mean,
it's giving you options, but again, it's
not the killiest edition.
No.
There's so much more terrain and stuff like that, and I don't think the Ravenwing units, like it says, so you can make a charge, but the Ravenwing stuff isn't super punchy like the Deathwing stuff is, right? Like I think they're more favorable, kind of like a Harlequin style.
Yeah,
of like
you're gonna have to play it, but you're gonna have to shoot them, whittle them down, and then, like you said, get the charge off, and then just finish them off. But to do it to 5, 2, 7 units,
I mean, there's I don't know, Weapons of the Dark Age on some MSU size plasma bikers maybe. Right?
And you are starting to see MSU a lot more, so.
Yeah.
So last one we have here is a Sovereign Defiance. So this one is in your first command phase, select one objective marker at the end of each of your command phases after the first. If you control that objective marker with Dark Angel's unit from your army that has the objective secure ability, Score a number of victory points based on the consecutive number of your command phases that you have controlled that objective marker with you. Okay, so at the end of the day, you need to choose one and just drop a unit and keep them there. So this essentially goes from turns 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 2 turns, you get 2 points. 3 turns, you get a third point. 4 turns, you get a fifth point. And then if you hold it for all 5 turns, you get another 5 points for your 15.
Yeah, this is the one where you just take Storm Shield, Deathwing Knight, Terminators, and just
drop them in the back of your field in a corner,
behind a
keep them
wall
there, and then
get your 15 points. It's too easy.
Yeah.
Because not only are they innately difficult to remove, you can also get the -1 damage.
Yeah. And especially for reasons like say if there's an objective marker in a building back corner, unless you have non-line sight shooting, it's like you said, it's I can see this one taking
the
quite
big thing though too is like if I drop 30 of my demonettes on that, I'm taking that objective from you and I'm wrecking your consecutive streak.
Are you?
But don't forget, there's some psychic abilities, this and that will make them not. Yeah, but there's ways that they can make them not objective secure, though.
True. Well, it's not even that. It's you put 30 demonettes on it. I score this in my command phase. In my command phase, it means I'm beat the shit out of your demonettes.
Yeah, I don't know, until it comes back to
I'm not convinced that the Horde things win this battle, right? I don't know. This one to me now. This one, okay. It's too early to tell, I'll admit that. But I feel like this should specifically exclude an objective in your drop zone.
Yeah.
That's my first thought on it, because then it becomes a lot more. Because this now is just like, oh, hey, look, there, like you said, there's a little L rune in the back corner.
Yeah, and you just sit on it.
Well, and I mean, you could string it out so you can't even drop your demonettes in there. Like, I could just screen that out.
No, true.
Right?
If you can block it 9 inches all around.
And then the stuff that's super fast and can get to it, you won't have the bodies, and you probably don't have the objective secured. Like, what can Chaos do about that? Furies, they won't take it.
Yeah, no, I won't have enough of you.
Yeah, exactly.
And you need something strong enough to be able to kill them too. And like you said, you stay into Storm Shields, -1 to hit, -1 dam. Yeah. I don't know. I think this would be a fun one to play around with.
I think this one will be taken by every single Dark Angels player every single game. I think you just put five Deathwing Knight Terminators, and the only purpose is to have a Storm Shield.
Yeah. That's also in your battlefield supremacy.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that pretty much. Yeah.
I don't know about this one, GW.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much sums up. Yeah. So that sums up this book.
Love.
Yeah.
Doubt it, but yeah. But no, that pretty much wraps up this review on the Dark Angels Codex. So like we mentioned at the beginning, if there was anything that we went over that you guys didn't fully understand, or if we missed something or misread something, please leave a comment in the section down below. We'll definitely read it over and respond to it and make any corrections in a later on video. But hey, thank you, Kieran and Brian, for joining me on this episode.
Yep. Yeah, it's a pleasure being on, man. Again, disclaimer, I don't play Dark Angels. So anything I said that you're just
We're
like
chaos.
Yeah,
us 3 guys are chaos.
We play Death Angels.
Yes, all of the death, the bloody Death Angels,
and talk Astartes.
Anyway, yeah, this was fun. I had a lot of fun.
No, definitely. Like I said, thank you guys for joining me, and hopefully everybody listening has enjoyed it. And if you do enjoy it, please give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, because we are definitely enjoying doing these Codex reviews. It gives us some extra knowledge once we can finally get our models on the table, and hopefully we're giving you guys all the information that you need to, muster up some lists, get some stuff going. So whenever Papa Nurgle finally fucks off a little bit, and we can get some games going in, this will be the time to enjoy all these codexes.
Yeah,
all right.
And just to throw it in there, Papa Nurgle is sucking big time, but we do have a Discord, and we would love for people to join it. And if you're just itching to talk Warhammer and stuff like that, we're very active in there, and we'd love to get some more people in there to
100%. We can
get through this COVID together. Yeah.
Some hobby nights where we can sit and paint and chat on whatever in the Discord too. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Danny will read a thesaurus to us.
I will sit there. I will read the word of Dan with every word since the first episode, and I will practice. And I don't mean I'll make any progress, but I will practice.
That's what we
Do it
need.
for do it for you guys.
You got to lure him in with a daily word of Dan. Today's word is establishment. Boo talk.
All right, that's enough. That's enough bugging the host. All right.
Intromancy. Intromancy. That's today's word.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining me, and everybody listening. Have a good night.